Good evening everyone, it's Paulie. Thank you for joining me once again. I hope you're all having a fantastic week. Today we're going to be talking about utilities and software that creators can use. Now let me just talk about workflow. So as a creative, there are so many different tools that you can use to create a finished product. And some of them are quite complex and some of them are easy to use. The mentality that I have when I approach a project or something to do is what is going to be the easiest tool to use. Not always do I need the best video editor to get a video out. Sometimes I will use something that's free or easy to use just to get that video out, because I can get the same finish with some of these free programs as I can with the paid ones. So it's sort of whatever I feel is you want to have a lot of tools in your toolkit, and I try and pick the best tool which gets the job done in the least amount of time so I can move on to the next job. Now the first piece of software is free and paid, but it's called Fotor. It's available on PC, Mac, but not Linux, and it's a basic photo editor that just has all your features built into one with your basic contrast editing. You can do basic page design, there's filters, everything you need just to get a little bit of enhancement from your basic photos. So sometimes you don't need to spend half an hour finding LUTs and adjusting everything and getting all layers. Sometimes you just want to enhance a photo, and that's what that's great for. Next on the list is Inkscape. Now Inkscape once again is available on PC and Mac. It is a more in-depth picture editor to Fotor. Once again, it's free. There are some paid editions that you can get for it, but it provides you a lot more flexibility. Furthermore, Fotor, there's no real learning curve required. You just jump onto it and start editing. You can figure everything out pretty easily. The user interface is nice and simple, whereas Inkscape is a bit more complicated, but it does give you the flexibility to build layers and really get a more you can customize your images a lot better. So while I wouldn't rate it as something compared to Photoshop, which is the best marquee program, this is still a great alternative if you're not looking at spending hours on editing an image, which some editors do. Now the next one is one that I love to use. Now despite the name, it's an abbreviation for GNU Image Manipulation Program, and the abbreviation is Gimp. Western audience members will have a little chuckle at that, but Gimp's fantastic. It's available on Linux, Mac and PC, and it's my program of choice when it comes to image editing. While Adobe is the most powerful and the best and possibly one of the easier advanced editors to use, it does require a regular subscription. So Gimp is free, hence the general open source GNU title. This has pretty much all the features that Adobe Photoshop has, but it doesn't have the user interface. So it is not as a clean finish. It doesn't look, when you first open it, if you've never used any sort of imaging editing software, it may overwhelm you, it may scare you at the display, but there are lots of great tutorials on YouTube that you can watch to learn all the features. Furthermore, it's got a whole bunch of add-ons and extras which give it the functionality and functionality similar to Adobe. So if you're trying to do animations or certain sort of manipulations of graphics, there are those plugins available and add-ons for Gimp. Furthermore, text, custom texts, all the rest. There's so many tutorials, and I think I may have even put up a desaturation tutorial one time. Now next we're going to move on to video editing. So as I mentioned, if I need to get the project out, it's not completely, it's not too advanced, I've just got a couple of cuts and some audio, I will use, or close that, Microsoft Movie Maker. Now this one of course is for Windows only and Windows 10. There is a version for Windows 7 which you shouldn't be using because of security issues, and of course just a great free program that Microsoft provides to do basic video editing. And this, I'm not using a lot of resources, so it can export it quicker and I can get a project out a lot quicker if it's just simple. The Apple alternative, of course, is Apple iMovie. This is, I think I covered it in my video editing software for mobile devices. Fantastic piece of software. Now, the learning curve, there is a slight learning curve. You will have to watch one or two tutorials if you're not familiar with video editing, but it is a very powerful free video editor. It doesn't have a lot of the complexities that you might find in something more advanced like Final Cut or Adobe Premiere, but it is still a fantastic editor. And furthermore, if you do want to start to edit movies, more advanced movies, it is a great stepping stone to Final Cut, which is another Apple product. So I love iMovie. I still use it today if I'm doing a sporting event where I just need to chuck in some titles, some music and some clips, maybe some basic effects, and that's iMovie right there. Next, of course, is Final Cut. Now, this is what I use for all my advanced, where are we? Oh, sorry, I've done something there. There we go. This is what I do for my advanced video editing. It is one of the more powerful video editors. While it doesn't, they do edit Hollywood movies, but it's not a common editor. Normally Sony Vegas or Adobe or Red, their software is what's used for those high-end productions. But still, if you're a freelancer, if you're an ad agency, it's a great, easy tool to use. If you're already using iMovie, it's easy to learn the basics of Final Cut, as the user interface is fairly the same. And some early Adobe people that adopted Adobe will notice that Final Cut used to look like, Adobe Premiere looks a lot like Final Cut 7 used to look. So once again, I chose Final Cut over Adobe also because it doesn't require a monthly subscription. So it's a one-off payment, unlimited upgrades. I can use it on as many machines as I like, as opposed to Adobe, which unfortunately is subscription-based. It's a cloud-based program as well. So if you lose internet connection, using Adobe can be hard. Where Final Cut, you've installed a copy, you can use it without an internet connection. A lot of great add-ons and plugins too. Next, we're going to talk about document creation, manipulation, I guess, just basic page design. And for that, I use either Apple Pages, once again, a free program for Apple users, or if you're using a PC, I would suggest Apache Open Office, which is a great alternative to Word as well. And that allows you to, of course, design menus and just single pages with some graphics, whether it be a notice board or a newsletter or something like that. And one of the most useful ones, of course, is the Google suite of tools, which includes documents, sheets, slides, and forms. Now, the fantastic thing about these is while they are not accessible or downloadable onto your computer, they are cloud-based. So you can use them on a mobile, tablet, any computer around the world. You just log in, you've got access. Furthermore, it's a great platform to collaborate with other creators because you get access to Google Drive to share documents. You can easily convert documents between Word and Apple Pages. So once again, Google Docs is great, and so is Apache, and these are all free. Next, we're going to talk about just some utilities that can be helpful as a creative. And these are utilities which, whether you're collaborating with someone else or you're looking to do other things outside the basic software suites there. So the first is Audacity. Now, this was suggested to me by an audio engineer, Daniel Minisme Monahan. Shout out to Daniel. He was a early mentor of mine. And Audacity allows you to edit video with a really high final product, high quality product at the end. I don't know a lot about audio, but there are a lot of great plugins and add-ons. You can get all your effects, your compressions, your limiters. It's just a fantastic program. Now, it's powerful. It doesn't look fancy. It doesn't have a snazzy user interface, but it is a great free audio editing and audio production tool. If you are doing something that's more music based, I would possibly suggest, I think it's Fruity Loops or something of that nature, or contact my friend Daniel Minismee Monahan, aka Minismee, and I'll leave his details and you can ask him about audio production. He's a fantastic guy, Perth-based artist, so shout out Dan. Next we're going to talk about Handbrake, and this is an open source video transcoder program. So if you export your video in your video editing software and then you need to adjust it to different platforms, like you export it in 4K at 10 bits, it's going to be a huge file, something like 7 gigabytes. So rather than take 3 hours to upload, or you know, some platforms that have limits like a 3 gigabyte limit like Instagram, Handbrake will transcode and encode your video without losing quality. It will compress it and allow you to upload it with it will compress it to a smaller file size, so a 7 gigabyte video comes down to maybe 3 gigabytes, and it can be uploaded then to YouTube, Instagram, and you don't have to waste all the video editor's energy and resources exporting it into another format when Handbrake does it with far less. Plus it's free. Another great thing about Handbrake is if you have video in different formats that maybe your editor doesn't recognize, it is a great tool to either upscale or reformat those video files. Next, of course, is a great video player. It's a multi-use tool. Of course, it can do audio, it can download, it can I won't encourage you to use it for this, but it can rip streams. But once again, great video player. It's free. I prefer it over QuickTime and the Windows alternative. Next, of course, is Opera. Now, Opera is a fantastic web browser. It's not as popular as Chrome or whatever the Microsoft one is, but Opera is handy because it comes with a built-in VPN, which means if you need to access sites outside your region due to a firewall that your country's put up, or if you need to get access to sites that you can't normally see because of your location or wherever that server is, Opera is a great way of doing it. It's got a lot of privacy features in there, and it's a great tool to use if you don't have a VPN subscription. There are limited uses. I think you only get a certain bandwidth per month on the VPN, but still it's free and it's a great safe browser. Now, make sure you do keep this browser up to date, because if you don't, it can become a security vulnerability. Now, if you're transferring files, I would recommend WeTransfer. For free, you get to send 2 gigabytes worth of data to anyone with an email address. So you just upload your file, insert their email. Where are we? There we go. And so yeah, your email and message, and you send that, and that takes less than a couple of minutes to send them and receive. And it's also a bit safer than other cloud and collaborative storage devices. I prefer it because I'm not giving the receiver too many details. Now, if you do have someone that you trust or a group that you work with, Google Drive is a fantastic collaborative tool. Upload up to 15 gigabytes worth of files or photos to share with your friends, family and colleagues. Once again, free with a Gmail address, and it does give you access to the full Google suite of apps. So once again, that's another fantastic collaborative tool that creatives might find useful if you're ever sharing photos and video clips. I often will send a link to allow someone to upload footage to it so I can receive it, because they're not in the habit of doing that. So if you've got clients somewhere, they're not too computer savvy, create a Google Drive, send them a link and share it, and boom, they can upload their files with minimum amount of fuss and pain. So there are a whole suite of apps that maybe you currently use or don't use or would like to try out that are free, or most of them are. Now, if there's some that I haven't mentioned that you think that I should be using, please comment below. I would love to know what they are and give them a try. Or if you think that there are apps there that maybe I could increase my productivity, that might increase my productivity, please suggest them to me, because I would love to learn them. Take care, everyone. Peace out. Have a great night. Have a great week, and chat soon.